right, let's talk about blood typing. So up here at the top, I've got just an overview of blood. So we typically think about this red blood droplet here as blood, but as we learned, that blood contains a lot of different things. So for example, it contains your red blood cells, your white blood cells, and then your platelets. That's the cellular components. But then all of that, like tan stuff holding all of the cellular components, is called your blood plasma. And that's where your antibodies are found. So remember, antibodies are there to fight off foreign things. In this case, the antibodies are there to fight off foreign blood types. But you may have heard about antibodies during COVID, right? So, like if you got COVID, your body was making antibodies to fight it off. So you every day make antibodies to fight off foreign blood types. Because if you were to get a blood type that is not yours, so say you have A blood, and in an emergency somebody gave you B blood, you could die. And that's what we're going to talk about here when we talk about blood typing. So let's take a step back and just talk about what A, B blood is, any of the blood types. So humans have a blood group called the ABO blood group. No other species has that specific blood group system. That's just us, meaning we can't take blood from other animals. They can't take it from us. And so within that blood group, there are 4 different blood types if we're not including positive and negative, which we'll talk about in a bit. So those blood types are A, B, AB, and O. Okay, so those are your 4 blood types. When you're talking about blood types, you're talking about antigens. And antigens are proteins on the surface of the red blood cell. Okay, so they're proteins. Think about them, they're little receptors, like little identifiers. So for example, this is a red blood cell, so I guess I'll label that. That is a red blood cell. And imagine all of the space around the red blood cell, and we could even like make it larger. All of this space is the plasma. Okay, so plasma, and then let's see, red blood cell. So that's just for context, okay? So with somebody that is A blood type, all that means is they have A antigens or A proteins on their red blood cells, okay? Meaning this person has little receptors, little identifiers on their red blood cell that says, hey, my identity is A, and that is indicated by my antigens, okay? So I'll label that. Those are A antigens. If you are A blood, you only have A antigens. Okay, so let's talk about B blood, and I'll come back to why that plasma is important. B blood has B antigens, right? So you have B proteins on the surface of the red blood cell, and I mean, you could draw them all over. I was just drawing them on the outside. So this person with B blood only has B antigens or B proteins on the surface of the red blood cell. Now, with humans, we have something interesting where if our parents, let's say mom passes down an A antigen and dad passes down a B, you actually get both on your red blood cell. So somebody with AB blood type has A and B antigens, right? All over their red blood cell. So just both of them. Meaning they have little receptors or identifiers saying, hey, I'm A and B. Okay. And then we have O. O blood type does not have O antigens. When you see an O or a 0 in science, it normally means without. So O has no antigens. It is a naked red blood cell. Okay, so it has no identifier, and we'll talk about what that means in a second, but O has no antigens. Okay, so let's go back and let's talk about antibodies, right? We said that antibodies are located in the plasma. And then for context down here, whoops, I said that the red blood cell is surrounded by plasma. So I drew this yellow plasma, but you could also, imagine that all of the white space on my page here is plasma. Okay, so somebody that is A blood only wants a blood type because that is what they have antigens for. Okay, so let me write that. That's normally helpful. You can only take blood from someone with the same antigens. Okay, so A blood can only take blood that is A. That is all. That's all you have antigens for. That's all you can recognize. That is all you can take. So what that means is you or the person with A antigens, the person that is A blood type, cannot, since it cannot take anything else, it is going to make antibodies. Okay, it's going to make antibodies that fight off other blood types. Okay, they're still proteins. We'll write that they fight off other blood types. That is very important. Okay, so like I said, if you're given the wrong blood type, you could die, and this is why, or why you make antibodies. So if someone is A blood type, they have those A antigens, they are going to make B antibodies because they cannot take B antigens. So down here in the plasma, A blood type will make B antibodies. The shorthand for writing that is just anti-B. Okay, that's just easier to write. So someone with A blood makes B antibodies. And so what that means is if this person with A blood was given B blood, they have these little fighters floating in the plasma just waiting to attack B blood. So A blood is anti-B. So A blood has A antigens and B antibodies. Okay, so let's look at B blood. B blood has B antigens. So that means they can only take B blood type. What does that mean for us? All right, or what does that mean for B blood? It means that they are going to make A antibodies. So if this person with B blood was given A blood, their body has these little fighters, these little antibodies waiting to attack A blood. Now, AB blood is kind of different. So someone with AB blood has A and B antigens, right? So if they were given A blood or if they were given B blood, they wouldn't fight it off, right? Because like we said over here, you can only take blood, you can only take blood from someone with the same antigens. Man, I messed that one up, huh? Let's just rewrite that. Okay. So you can only take blood from someone with the same antigens, right? So someone that is AB blood type can take A blood or B blood because they have the same antigens. They've got A and B antigens. And what this means is that AB blood has no antibodies because they can take A and B. Moving over to O blood, this one's also different. Look, because there are no antigens on the surface of the red blood cell, right? It's that naked blood cell, no antigens. So what that means is if this person with O blood was given A, B, or AB blood, they would not be able to take it because remember, you can only take blood from someone with the same antigens. So O has no antigens, so they can't take blood from A, B, or AB. And what that means is someone with O blood type is going to make antibodies for A blood and B blood. So those are its fighters. It uses A and B antibodies. Okay. All right, so that is just the basics of blood typing. I'll move on in a second to talking about positive and negative, but I think that's that for this section.